Hey everyone, I'm coming to you from beautiful West Virginia. I'm standing on the battlefield of Falling Waters. Now, during the time of the American Civil War and the time that this battle occurs, this was part of Virginia. This will not become West Virginia until June of 1863. The Battle of Falling Waters is fought July 2nd, 1861, so it's a very early war battle. It is also known as Hoax Run among a lot of other names, but those are the two most common. That July 2nd, 1861 battle is the first action in the Shenandoah Valley. And it's going to pit Confederate Colonel Thomas J. Jackson and his troops against Union General Robert Patterson and his Federal troops. Jackson will be the same Jackson that will go on to Manassas a couple weeks later and become Thomas J. Stonewall Jackson for his stand on Henry House Hill during the First Battle of Manassas. But we're standing in a specific spot here at Falling Waters. This is known as Stumpy Hollow. And there's a neat action that occurs here involving another, I guess you could say, Civil War celebrity. Another guy that's going to do a lot during the American Civil War, especially here in the Eastern Theater. So on the morning of July 2nd, 1861, Confederate Lieutenant Colonel Jeb Stuarts, who will go on to become the general commanding the Cavalry Corps of the Army of Northern Virginia, will almost single-handedly capture an entire company of Union infantry. That Union infantry is Company I of the 15th Pennsylvania, and they are under General James Negley, part of his 5th Brigade. Overall command, of course, under Robert Patterson. And what's happened is Patterson has directed Negley to swing out to the west while the rest of Patterson's army advances toward Martinsburg on the Valley Pike. Those men, the 15th Pennsylvania, will arrive here at this fort, and they're kind of uncertain of which way they need to go. The captain will leave and leave the lieutenant in charge here. The captain will leave and go to find out where they need to go. Because they're just waiting around, the men will rest, kind of explore around a little bit. The lieutenant's going to explore the road, see what's going on. And the rest of the men are going to rest. They're going to stack arms here against the split rail fence. As you can see behind me, there's a split rail fence. It will look like this. They're going to just rest here. No reason to overexert themselves while they're trying to figure out where to go. As they are doing so, a blue-clad soldier, Jeb Stuarts, is going to ride across the field to the fence. And he's going to order those soldiers to dismantle part of it so that he could pass. Well, being as he's dressed in a blue coat, U.S. Army coat, soldiers are going to obey that command, seeing that he's a lieutenant colonel. After they comply, however, Stuarts, who now has gained the road, will draw his pistols and allegedly will say to them, "Surrender or you are dead men." Some of the men will lunge for their weapons, just as the rest of Stuart's troopers, the 1st Virginia Cavalry, arrive on location here at Stumpy Hollow. Because of that, they will surround Company I of the 15th Pennsylvania, and they will ultimately have to surrender. The surrender includes a lieutenant, a doctor, and 44 privates. Pretty big feat earlier in the war already. Pretty embarrassing for the Union Army. But this also shows us who Jeb Stuarts is going to become later in the war, as he will do some daring and dashing things. Jackson will catch word of this, and his report just simply says, Colonel Stuarts reports his capture of an entire company, the 15th Pennsylvania Volunteers, with the exception of a captain. The Union version, the Federal version, is a little more detailed, a little bit different. Mistaking them for our own cavalry, they obeyed the order of Colonel Stuarts to let down the fence. The rebel leader, followed by some 40 of his men, surrounded the unsuspecting party, shot down the first sergeant, and demanded the surrender of the entire body, consisting of 2nd Lieutenant John B. Hutchinson and 34 men. Stuarts escaped with his prisoners, and the result of his strategy was heralded through the South as a brilliant affair. Now, that's written in the History of the Pennsylvania Volunteers, 1868 to 1871, and it's written by Samuel P. Bates. But it makes sense why these Union soldiers wouldn't think twice about a blue-clad soldier coming up to them with a lieutenant colonel's ranking. As Stuart, like we said, is still wearing his U.S. Army uniform early in the war, many of the Confederates that left the U.S. Army still have those uniforms. They haven't gotten their butternut uniforms or that look more like the Confederate Army that we kind of see later at Gettysburg and things like that. So this is a neat little spot to come to. Part of the Battle of Falling Waters, or known as Hoke's Run. But this is a little action that happens on the left flank of Jackson's men. If you want to know more about the Battle of Falling Waters, Hoke's Run, there's a Battlefields and Bourbon podcast episode about it. Definitely check that out. Get on Facebook. You can look up Civil Warscapes. He's got a great write-up about it. And of course, as always, check out the Civil War trail signs. You can look at their interactive map. There are a ton of signs in this little area of West Virginia about the Battle of Falling Waters. Now, I'm not going to get into the whole battle. I just kind of wanted to talk about this little spot here, as this is a super interesting place. So get a chance to come out here. Definitely come out to West Virginia, Martinsburg, anywhere you can find a Civil War trail sign. As always, hit the subscribe button on YouTube. Follow me on Facebook, TikTok, X, and Instagram, and hopefully we can do a tour or something like that together. www.aaroncivilwartravels.com.